The spectacle of spectacles, the showcase of the immortals, the granddaddy of them all, have had some all-time great shows over the last decades of WrestleMania. 40 years of WrestleMania have had ups and downs, trials and tribulations, everything that you can describe and then some. But just for my pleasure, I thought I'd give you guys my top 10 favorite WrestleManias of all time. Now, this is more of the ones that I have watched in my time period, but I've also gone back to watch some of the classics here and there. The classics don't resonate with me as much as the modern ones, but I thought I'd give you guys my top 10 favorite WrestleManias of all time. There's going to be some bias in here, but genuinely, if you have your own opinion, let me know what your favorite WrestleMania is of all time in the comments. Starting off with number 10, WrestleMania 23. This was the first stadium WrestleMania since WrestleMania 19 in Safeco Field / T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. This WrestleMania for me is one that I remember fondly watching with my family at the time. Such a fun show this is from start to finish. It's fantastic. The Money in the Bank ladder match is a car wreck of a match because Jesus, Jeff, what in hell were you thinking jumping off that high of a ladder onto Edge, killing yourself on the way? Insane stuff. Give me Edge. Well, not his first non-single win at WrestleMania. Undertaker and Batista, which was in the fifth match, which was technically the fourth match on the main show, which was so weird, was really a great match, an amazing, underrated Undertaker match, I will say. Donald Trump and Vince McMahon battle of the billionaires with Bobby Lashley and Umaga. While the match itself is not that great, the spectacle of it with Vince McMahon and Donald Trump is fun. The less talk about those two, the better nowadays. And then also the WWE Championship match, which is an all-time great main event between John Cena and Shawn Michaels. The story behind it is insane, but all in all, Shawn Michaels proves still that he is the best in the business. One of the best of all time. Shawn Michaels gives himself some flowers because he is so good. This drew 82,000. Well, this drew 74,287. This did 1.25 million buys. And then, the tagline, all grown up, makes sense. 20 years after the Pontiac Silverdome, they returned to Michigan. They returned to Detroit with this all-time great Mania. Now, some people say this Mania is not as great because you do got Great Khali versus Kane. You do got the ECW Originals versus the New Breed. And, of course, the Women's Championship match between Melina and Ashley, which was barely given any time. But all in all, this is an all-time great WrestleMania for me. It's one of my favorites watching as a kid. I go back to watch those particular matches, the 4 matches I mentioned before, not the ones I mentioned afterwards. And, of course, you do have the Chris Benoit MVP match. Although MVP would go on to win the United States Championship, this was still a great showcase for the young guy. Number 9, WrestleMania 24. This is a very criminally underrated WrestleMania and a very great show, honestly. And sorry for how my voice sounds. I've just been dealing with a cold and a lot of exhaustion. So I am just waking up and whatnot. But this is a great WrestleMania. I think for me, it's a particularly underrated WrestleMania all time. If I was to make a all-time WrestleMania list, this falls within. I'm talking about greatest WrestleManias. It wouldn't be biased, but it would be biased. But still, if I was to make that list, I would put this right near, like I have it here in the top 10. There are better Manias than this one, but this is so underrated because of how great everything kind of turned out to be, and not many people talk about this overall. First and foremost, the stage, fantastic stage. The setting, Orlando, Florida, super cool. And also the Citrus Bowl, one hell of a stadium, although there were some problems with that. Not to mention the lights going out during the women's match, and then also the pyro veil. But let's just talk about the show itself. The Belfast Brawl is an underrated opener between JBL and Finlay. Just two stiff guys beating the stiff shit out of each other. The Money in the Bank ladder match is in Carbrick again was some of the best there is, including CM Punk winning his first of 2 straight Money in the Bank ladder matches. Batista Umaga battled the brand supremacy. It's just a good, meaty fight of 2 big studs. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, career-threatening match. Obviously, one of the best Shawn Michaels matches there is. Randy Orton, Triple H, John Cena. I think is an underrated triple threat for the WWE Championship. Not many people talk about it, but 3 of the biggest stars in the company at the time in the 3-headed main event. A great little treat right there beforehand. Floyd Mayweather versus Big Show. Oh my goodness. Before you had Bad Bunny, this was the best use of a celebrity all time. And Mayweather went wild. I still remember just him with the chair swinging on the Big Show, knocking out the Big Show with the brass knucks. His entrance at Mania, good God, so fucking cool. And Big Show's first WrestleMania since 22. Looks really well. And then you got the underrated main event between between Undertaker and Edge. Streak versus title again. Undertaker and Edge put on an underrated streak main event. Undertaker's first WrestleMania main event since WrestleMania 13. Who would have thought? Charles Robinson making the slide into the ring. Amazing. I just love this Mania, but it does have a flaw. Kane versus Chavo Guerrero. Ugh. And yeah, the Playboy Bunny Lumberjill match. Ugh. But whatever. I love this Mania. Got to watch live again. So fun. I would definitely wish I was there live, but all in all, just a great Mania. Number 8, WrestleMania 31. Now, if I was to tell you one of the most lackluster built Manias of all time, this is it right here. It's so weird how this event turned out. But it turned out to be a classic. A classic. And also, look at how creative somebody got. Total Sinatra simulations. Nice job on this right here. It's the WrestleMania 31 poster, but with the 2K17 characters. Awesome work. I like that. But good God, this WrestleMania was built so bad, but worked out so perfectly. And all I'm going to say is the ending is one of the best of all time. Seth Rollins with the heist of the century. I remember watching this at my big sister's house in West Philly. I was just like, what am I watching with this ending? I'm like, what is going on? Seth Rollins cashing in, pinning Roman for the title to end the show. What? It's so freaking amazing. And the match itself is amazing. It's the best Brock versus Roman match before their last man standing match, which would be some years later. But God, I love this match. I love this WrestleMania. For how poorly it was booked, everything came out so fucking amazing. From the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, Daniel Bryan winning his last singles title before his unfortunate announcement of his retirement. Randy Orton hitting one of the greatest RKOs on Seth Rollins. Triple H and Sting, the fun that was, but the wrong finish. John Cena, Rusev coming out of the fucking tank, for God's sake. AJ Lee's last WrestleMania match, and probably last wrestling match ever. Who would think that AJ Lee is done with wrestling at this point? I know I went kind of backwards with that, but who cares? Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, a spectacle more so than a match, with the Undertaker's first wrestling appearance in a year. And it was right after his birthday, which was pretty crazy to think. March 29th. I think this is on his birthday. Hold on. Oh, March 24th. A couple days after. The Outlaws still had it within them. And then, like I said, the main event. One of the best main events there was, and the best ending to a WrestleMania there ever has been. Up until the next one. Number 7, WrestleMania 37. The first WrestleMania in front of a live audience in the pandemic era, which, to me, crazy to think. But my goodness, WWE put on a show for WrestleMania 37 with the people coming back to the attendance. 2-night WrestleMania in front of Raymond James Stadium, which I'm surprised they haven't gone back to yet. I hope they do, just because Tampa does deserve at least one more chance. And obviously, look at the stage setup. It's one of the greatest stage setups of all time. You gotta give WWE their props with how they created the pirate ship and used it into the stage itself. So fantastic. Let's talk about this WrestleMania. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a WrestleMania that is convoluted in a way, but I can say some things that I really liked about this was the first match of the night, which was on April 10th, and also the thunderstorm. It's a thunderstorm at WrestleMania. Who would have thought that? Um, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Good little opening. Two big guys just going out and having a war for the WWE title. Drew taking the defeat, which was so weird. Even though we thought that Drew was going to win, Lashley retaining was understandable. He just won the WWE title. He was just in the middle of like a dominant run, so you just had to give him the win. Tamina and Natalia defeating the Riot Squad, although not the best tag team turmoil match, it was something. Cesaro and Seth Rollins, underrated WrestleMania classic. Two guys who know how to put on a great show. Cesaro was super underutilized, but he was getting that push, and I was so glad that he was able to get the push that he deserved at this WrestleMania, got the win that he deserved at this WrestleMania with the spotlight on him at this WrestleMania. So good for Seth. So good for him. Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon in the steel cage was more of like just spectacle than it was a match. Of course, Shane taking the fall. Of course, Braun Strowman ripping the cage. Awesome. And then, yeah, Bad Bunny, Damian Priest versus John Morrison and The Miz. Oh my God, Bad Bunny, give yourself a round of applause, man. Awesome job by you, man. I love this tag team match, and of course, Bad Bunny and Priest getting the win was cool. Of course, the 2 years later would be something interesting. And then Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship, one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. That main event is just perfect. The emotion, the work, the in-ring work, perfect. So perfect. Night 2 is a bit, but I think night 2 does have some great stuff. They do have some great things on night 2. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, fantastic match. Sheamus and Matt Riddle's a really good, underrated little joint right there that you can watch. And Sheamus hitting a bro kick on a Riddle that was flipping. Awesome. Rhea Ripley and Asuka. And then the triple threat match for the Universal title. Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Stack them. Smash them. Win them. I love this WrestleMania, especially for like the circumstances that they had to do. Still a great mania. Also, Poncho Joe. That's all you gotta say. WrestleMania 35 at number 6. Now, the complaint that I will give to this WrestleMania is it was too long, which is why they went to a night 2 in 2020. Although, given the circumstance, I'm so sorry. Given the circumstances, understandable. But the pre-show actually did pretty well. Tony Nese winning the Cruiserweight Championship against Buddy Murphy. Loved it. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder being the revival. Loved that. And then you kicked off the show with Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title in a great short opener with Seth winning the Universal title. Great stuff right there. AJ Styles, Randy Orton, great match. Two great guys doing some great things. Shane McMahon versus The Miz. As much as people probably want to can on it, this is one of the most entertaining WrestleMania matches that you will find. It's so interesting how those two work together to put on such a spectacle. The show itself was so... The match itself is dumb, but it's so fun. Shane potatoing Miz's dad. So funny. The Iconics getting their WrestleMania moment. I loved that for them. Kofi Mania with Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan. Loved it. I actually enjoyed the Triple H Batista match, No Holds Barred, which was pretty fun. and also just interesting in so many ways. Batista's last wrestling match ever. Thank you, Dave, for the work that you did. The Finn Balor Bobby Lashley IC title match with Finn Balor entering as the Demon, Lashley with his little eyes as well. And then of course the triple threat women's main event, the first ever all women's main event match for the at WrestleMania for both the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championship, with Becky Lynch winning. As much as it is underwhelming, it's still a historic main event. You can't deny it. WrestleMania 35, Jesus Christ, 16 matches. You can't do that on one show. Sounds like an AEW show nowadays, but my goodness, they put on a spectacle for the night that they produced. So fun it was. Number 5 is interchangeable. These are my top 5 manias that I would just put as top 5 all time. If I was to make an all time WrestleMania list, these 5 would never change. Starting off at number 5, WrestleMania 30. This, for many people, is the most overrated WrestleMania of all time. But I don't think, I think for many reasons, this is just a God given WrestleMania. Basically off of moments more so than anything else. And that's what WrestleMania is all about. It's about moments. It's about the spectacle. It's about the grandeur. Sometimes not about the matches, but the matches sometimes can be really good. Like the opener between Daniel Bryan and Triple H. Daniel Bryan and Triple H putting on a fantastic opener match, with Daniel Bryan winning to secure his spot in the main event. Obviously, Bryan had to win this match. This match was so fun. You had Bryan and Triple H pulling out all the stops. You had the post-match assault on Daniel Bryan taking out the arm before the main event. You had the Shield dominating Kane and the New Age Outlaws. You had Cesaro having his WrestleMania moment. Downfalls include John Cena and Bray Wyatt. John Cena winning, ugh, and then Brock, and then also the Vicky Guerrero Invitational, ugh. But 2 major moments. The streak ending and the miracle on Bourbon Street. The streak ending. Shocking. I was watching this on my computer with my uncles, and I just was like, wow. Interesting. Like Russell Westbrook. Like Russell Westbrook when he was given like a random stat that he did. Yeah, I was like that, but I was super shocked, but at the same time, I was like, oh, you know what? It had to happen. It had to happen. Like, we just didn't think that that moment would ever happen, but now that we know the circumstances of what the reason was at the same time, like what was going on within the match, yeah, it makes sense that Brock won. But still, all-time shocking moment. And then the miracle on Bourbon Street. Bryan, Orton, and Batista. Not only a great triple threat match, but one of the best Mania endings ever, with Bryan holding both the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships up to the sky, doing the yes chants, the fans going insane, the pyro, the confetti. So fun. So fun. This is an all-timer Mania. And I will be in New Orleans next year for WrestleMania. I want to see what they do for this. I just want to see what they do. I would be so amazed to see what they do for it. Number 4, WrestleMania 19. I went to watch this on, at the time, the WWE Network, and I've went to rewatch this numerous times during my like years of wrestling watch, from like the Attitude Era into the current era. I'm talking about like 99. Oh. I'll talk about 99 all the way to like this era of wrestling that I'm in right now. And I would stop at like a certain year, because I remember the latest year that I remember before like anything else. I remember I remember 2007. And my earliest memory of wrestling is like 2004. But my goodness, WrestleMania 19 is an all-timer. For starters, the opening match between Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio is so fucking fun. Mysterio taking a drop down on the card after, the wild start that he had to 2002. Understandable. And he and Matt Hardy put on a great showing. Matt winning felt a little bit weird, but you gotta understand. Mysterio's still young in his WWE career. He was going to bounce back at some point. Undertaker's entrance at this WrestleMania is fun, although the handicap match is kind of stupid. Undertaker's streak did continue. You had the women's championship match. Trish Stratus, Victoria, and Jazz put on a nice little drawing right there. Team Angle going up against some of the SmackDown 6 at the time. Rhino and Chris Benoit and Los Guerreros. Underrated tag team match there. Those guys went on a great one. Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, one of perhaps maybe the best match on the night if it wasn't for, the main event and another couple of matches on this show. Because my goodness, this match is a technical classic. Shawn Michaels' first Mania since WrestleMania 14. And he just did not lose a step. In the ending, crisp. You had the sweet chin music. You had the little rollover. You had the kick to the balls. Because Jericho's a prick. But I just love this match. So fun. So fun. Hulk Hogan, Mr. McMahon, the less said about those two, the better in current era. But my God, that street fight is so brutal. Even Hugo Savinovich taking a chair shot to the head. My God. Oh, God, man. That was so fucking hilarious. It's one of the best, funny, nonsensical chair shots of all time. It's bloody. It's brutal. You get that classic Vince coming from the right ring apron and looking at a bloody Hulk with an evil smile on his face, like Satan himself just rose from hell. My God, the final match between Rock and Stone Cold, one of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever. And then the main event, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. I believe this is still the best Mania, one of the best Mania main events. If it wasn't for Brock doing the shooting star and landing on his head, good grief. The one dud that you definitely can say is 100% Triple H versus Booker T, which should have had Booker T winning the world title. Triple H taking so long on that pinfall just sucks. Sucks. Dude, Hunter, I love you now, but man, you fucked up this one. So bad. Number 3, WrestleMania 39. This was my first ever WrestleMania I attended. Now, I wasn't in, the sections that are being shown. I was a little more over to the left in a VIP suite for night 1, and night 2 was a little bit more up into the upper section, not in this sections that you see, but a little bit more over where I had a great view of the ring. Not only was this my first WrestleMania ever, this was also my first time to see Hell in a Cell ever. It's so fun to just remember this WrestleMania because it's not only one of the best Manias there was, it's also one of the more heartfelt Manias there was. You had John Cena versus Austin Theory, which is kind of lackluster, but still solid in a sense, but Cena should have put over Austin Theory a little bit more. You had the WrestleMania Men's Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag, which is short but perfect between the Street Profits, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. Lord, what a match that was for those 8 minutes. Fast-paced, intense, insane. I loved that tag team match for sure. Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, fantastic match between those two, and Logan Paul looked like a star, as much as it pains me to fucking say it. Although Seth Rollins, one of the best there is. The 6-woman tag between Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota, and Io versus Trish, Lita, and Becky. Love that match. Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Love that match. Rhea and Charlotte. One of the best women's championship matches of all time. Love that match. Rhea winning. Love the ending. Pat McAfee and The Miz. Got to see Pat McAfee, though. And the main event of night 1, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. One of the best main events ever. The most emotional main event ever. Deservedly so, being in the main event slot that it was for night 1. Cried my eyes out for that. Ah, man. Still remembering it in attendance. I just cried. It was perfect. Night 2 does have more flaws than night 1. But at least night 2 does have some bangers. Not the Brock Lesnar Omos match, but, last Brock Lesnar WrestleMania match ever. Ooh. Hope not. The women's Showcase Fatal 4-Way, not better than the men's, but still alright. Triple threat, Gunther, Sheamus, Drew, stiffest motherfucking match all time. Jesus. Well, I shouldn't say all time. Stiffest motherfucking main roster match of all time. Jesus, this match is brutal to watch, but super fucking cool. Gunther winning. Great decision. Do not disagree with that. Bianca and Asuka. Good match. Snoop Dogg and The Miz. Oh, the context between this one is super funny. It's so funny. Because it's Shane McMahon tearing his... It's supposed to be Shane McMahon, but he tore his quad in California, just like how his dad tore his quad in California. Oh man, I remember seeing this. I popped for Shane and then I popped for Snoop doing the elbow. My God, this was so fucking hilarious. They had to carry Shane out through the stuff. Oh God, poor Shane McMahon. And then Edge and Finn Balor in the Hell in a Cell. Now Edge probably shouldn't have won this match. I would agree, but still, the entrance of the Demon Finn Balor, the entrance of Edge, fucking phenomenal. And then finally the main event, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Need I say more? I don't have to talk about the ending because many people still remember the ending. But the match itself is a banger of a match. Still. All the shenanigans aside. Still. Fucking phenomenal Mania. Did I walk out there a little bit disappointed? A little bit. But I still love this Mania. This Mania is an all-timer. Number 2, WrestleMania X7. I don't even have to talk about this too much. It's one of the best wrestling shows there was for a time period. And I've gone to watch this Mania more times than I've watched anything else in wrestling. Because this particular event just hits in so many different ways that you couldn't even think that they were able to do. But God almighty, X7 is just surreal. It's surreal how they ended one era into a new era. And that Houston crowd was ecstatic. The Astrodome might be top 3 Mania venues of all time because of just how that atmosphere worked. For starters, Chris Jericho and William Regal had a nice short Intercontinental title opener with Jericho winning. Ah man, that's a nice little one right there. You had Taz and APA versus Right to Censor, short little tag match before you get to the cooks, the things that just cooked, like the hardcore triple threat. Eddie Guerrero Test, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Shane versus Vince. You had to skip over China versus Ivory because of course you did. TLC 2, the Gimmick Battle Royal, Undertaker Triple H 1, and the main event between The Rock and Stone Cold. There's nothing about this show that is particularly bad that you can go on to like kind of criticize. It feels like it's a long show to kind of get through, but it doesn't feel that long, and everything just hits. It just hits, man. X7, I was 3 at this time, or not 3 but 2 at the time when this event came around. And I don't have no memory, obviously, because being 2 years old you don't remember crap. But God almighty, what a show. What a fucking show. But for me, it's not the greatest. It's not my favorite. My second favorite. It's number 1, WrestleMania 40. Call me biased. I do not care. Say that this is favoritism because this is in my hometown. I do not care. You had to be there live to see the greatness of what felt like the truest of true restarts and wrongs that was written in the past to fulfill the future and current day of WWE. Now, one thing I will mention, it was cold as fucking ass. Because, God, it was so freezing for this WrestleMania. I cannot lie to you. I froze my ass off for this Mania. But I don't care. This WrestleMania is superb. From night 1 to night 2, there really isn't that many misses. Rhea versus Becky night 1. Unreal opener, especially with the circumstances behind the opener. With Rhea having an anxiety attack, Becky Lynch with the flu, the tag team ladder match, insane fun. Rey and Andrade versus Santos and Dominic. As much as it is like weird, it is super cool to just see Rey Mysterio have a WrestleMania match. Of course, Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey getting involved. Of course, for me, I got a pop out of that. Got an Eagles chant out of that. 2-time Super Bowl champs. Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Of course, the disappointment was Jay versus Jimmy. I can't say nothing much of that. The women's 6-man tag, something that you can also be disappointed about. But you got to see Jade Cargill in the spotlight that she deserved at a big time event like WrestleMania. Let's go, Jade. Sammy versus Gunther. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. Then the night 1 main event. Seth and Cody. Rock and Roman. Rock's first wrestling match since WrestleMania 29. Main eventing WrestleMania after main eventing in his first WrestleMania 25 years later. Yeah. That's some context that you probably didn't know. This was Rock main eventing a Philadelphia WrestleMania. The first person, I think, the only person from 15 to main event another Philly Mania 25 years later. Insane stuff. Insane stuff to remember. And then night 2, Drew and Seth with the cash in. Yeah. LA Knight AJ Styles. Underrated. Triple threat match. Really good. Bailey and Io. Fantastic. Night. The end. I can't even get the words out for this. The ending. I gotta say, like, being there live had me going in fucking insane, dude. Cause like, oh my god. Oh my god. The less say about that, the better, because I talked about this numerous times how I love the main event of both WrestleMania. It's so good. At the end of the day, WrestleMania 40 is my favorite Mania of all time. And I will never, ever, ever put it ahead or put it behind anything else. But those are my 10 favorite WrestleManias of all time. Like I said, a lot of bias, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think your favorite WrestleMania of all time is. Or what's your favorite WrestleMania of all time is. I have to get some videos uploaded. Long video this was, but it's okay. I will talk to y'all in the next video. Peace and love. And happy WrestleMania week.